So hi everybody and welcome to this very special Samhain celebration, my first collaboration on the channel. It's going to be made of 3 parts. The first part is going to be a healing tarot reading using my own Major Arcana Alchemical Tarot deck. It's going to be a shadow reading. It's going to be connecting into your ancestors to get messages, a pick a card reading, time-stamped in the description box below. Then we have a second part where it's the first collaboration of the channel, and we have the very wonderful Thou Alone, who is a poetry and sound artist who is going to be discussing her practice a little bit about what she does. She's going to be talking about the astrology of this special Halloween evening, because it's very interesting astrology. And then she's going to be doing also some oracle card pulls for the collective, connecting into ancestry. So that's really exciting. And then the third element is I've created a special Samhain spell to transform any situation. And in the beginning of that, I discuss Samhain. I explain what it's all about, the history of this time, how it links into Halloween, and this time of transformation that is held within this time of year. Super exciting. It's basically the witches' New Year's Eve. The veil between the worlds is very thin and we can really connect in and do some interesting work. And yeah, that spell, you guys watching will be able to join in with me. I will set everything up so that all you need to do is comment in the description box below, not the description box, the comments box below. And by putting your energy in there, you will be part of this spell. All will become clear when you watch that, but please do watch the introduction, watch me talking about it, because it will make a lot more sense. But we're really going to harness our collective energy tonight to make some big shifts, some exciting transformations. It brings me great pleasure to do these things. This is what I started the channel for. I love collaboration. Please let me know how you found it. Your feedback obviously helps the channel grow. It helps me manifest more subscribers, as I am doing for this channel. I'm starting by manifesting 100 by January, then it's going to be 1,000 the next year. I want to show you guys in real time how manifestation works, but please do help by adding your energy into the channel. It is this collaborative space. I want this to be a space where we can come, we can heal, we can collaborate, we can skill share, and we can really begin to transform and shift and work with the shadow and work with the light and just really have a exciting time together. And tonight is the first collaboration and it's a major element of that, so I'm super excited. So thank you so much for everyone for watching. Thank you so much for everyone for liking, subscribing, commenting. It all means a lot to me. And thank you so much to Thou Alone for being part of this this evening. And I'm wishing you all a very happy Samhain, Halloween, full moon, blue moon, and everything else wrapped up in tonight, and sending you all my best. So, oh, and by the way, I made some new candle holders. These are some clay candle holders that are kind of alchemical. I've been making some little clay things for the channel that I will fire in my garden on a full moon night, so that's exciting. You'll see more in the spell. I've made an alchemical vessel. But yeah, so I hope everyone's well, and please do enjoy, and all the best. So I'm going to do a special reading today. It's going to be a reading of what messages from your ancestors. I'm going to be using my own deck, as it's a shadow reading, my Major Arcana Alchemical Tarot deck. If you've watched videos before, you'll know it links alchemy and Jungian psychoanalysis to traditional Major Arcana tarot themes, and it's for doing shadow work. So I'm just going to take a moment, connecting into the energy of everyone who will view this video at all points in time, creating a temporary energetic bond between myself and the viewer so that I can deliver the messages for them, asking all angelic helpers, spirit guides and entities to step in now to aid me in this reading. And the guides and entities and ancestors of my viewers to step in also to help deliver this message, shrouding us all in protective energy and light. So let me just sink into your energy now. And please sort the viewers into 3 distinct piles so that I can deliver the messages they need to hear, channel through me and into my cards. All chances, changes, possibilities, probabilities, all messages that need to be heard today. Thank you. So be it, and so it is. Okay, so I'm going to go straight ahead with the reading. There are 3 things to pick from today. This is going to be pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, and I'm going to put timestamps in the description box below as usual, so you can go straight into the reading. But let me just show you these. So pile 1, where can we see this well? Pile 1. This is a Mother Mary pendant from my childhood. Pile 1. Silver Mother Mary. Pile 2. This is a coin, an oxidized coin. That's pile 2. Pile 2. And pile 3 is a genuine piece, a genuine meteor. I think it's from South America. How can I show you? It's very small. Here we go. A meteor. So that's pile 3. So you may be drawn to one of these objects, or you may hear 1, 2, or 3. Take a moment to pause the video to make your choice, and then join me for your reading. Timestamp in the description box below. Okay, Spirit, please connect me into pile 1. Okay, pile 1. Just a quick message for you before I begin. So you were attracted to this, or maybe you heard one, or whatever reason you were drawn to this pile. This is obviously a Christian iconography for Mother Mary, for the Virgin Mary. So I feel like your ancestors that we're connecting with today could come from a kind of traditional religious background. So we could be dealing with sort of angelic issues. We could be dealing with some kind of traditional ancestors, sort of in terms of the church, you know. So you may come from a sort of more Western background, or this could just be about protection and prayer. It could be that this is someone who has prayed for you, or I'm getting a message distinctly for some of you that you've been praying to this person. This could be someone that you pray to, that you know is guiding you and watching over you, and it comes from this kind of traditional Christian spirituality. This is also something that's from my childhood, so there could be something here of connecting through the maternal line, because also Mother Mary, of course, is the archetype for divine feminine energy. You could identify yourself with being a divine feminine. Energy is not gender specific, of course, but there's just something coming through about that before I start the reading. So that's group 1. Now let me see, I'm just going to get a couple of cards, so please channel through me messages. I'm just going to get some incense. Messages from pile 1's ancestors or guides or whoever wants to come through, but hopefully some ancestors, please. The messages I need to convey today for pile 1. Okay, so you have the Alchemical Wheel of Fortune. It did come out in the reverse, and my cards were not like we're not the wrong way around, if you know what I mean. I don't always take reversals. It depends. I can tell when it's meant to be a reversal or not. But what I'm getting here is that you're... Okay, so let's start first of all. So the alchemical wheel is like the Wheel of Fortune, but it's about all the different elements in alchemy being balanced, and this kind of rotor, this cyclical turning, this process where the elements are transformed with just the right quantities of everything needed. So this is a case of balancing energies here. I feel like what your ancestors are saying though is that you feel like you've gone through a period of bad luck. You may feel like things are not working out how you want them to, like things have suddenly changed in a way that you're not happy with, or that you're just not really in control of what is going on around you at the moment. And your ancestors are stepping in to say that you are protected and loved, and it's divinely guided, and that this is what is meant to be for you at this time, for you to learn these cosmic lessons. This is a cosmic lesson that's being played out, and you're learning something from it. And within your biggest challenges and these kinds of lessons, we can find great opportunity for growth and transformation. And if you are in some kind of cycle, or with a, you know, with a person or with a situation where you feel like you're constantly kind of repeating things are stopping and starting, and you're never really managing to move forward from a certain place into a more stable energy, you have the ability to break ties, you have the ability to break cosmic patterns, karmic cycles. You need to sort of take stock, and they're asking you to think of what the lesson is within these experiences. So you are being asked to connect in to your inner child, to think about moments where you've repeated these patterns, and when the first time was that you repeated this. I'm getting a strong message through that this is generational stuff, and that's why your ancestors are coming in to say it. This is a generational pattern that you have inherited, and you can free yourself from this. You know, you might have to do a bit of work. You might need to come to someone like me or someone else who can help you, guide you through this process, but you can also just go into a kind of meditative state and work out what it is, where it's coming from. Do a pendulum on yourself to see where that block is, or where that pattern stems from, if it's from a past life, if it's from this life. But there's a need to break this pattern, but the way you do that is to identify it. So awareness is always how we integrate these kinds of lessons, right? And once you start to understand this and understand this behavior, you will see that you are not repeating it anymore, because this is a kind of cosmic lesson you've chosen to learn when you incarnated in this lifetime, or that is being passed down generationally. So there's something in the generational line that needs a bit of healing. So that's the message that they're bringing forth today. Imagine this Wheel of Fortune being turned up the right way round. If you do tarot yourself, or you have a deck at home, get the Wheel of Fortune card, put it the right way up, put it under your pillow, sleep with it like that tonight. You know, Halloween is great energy for shifting things, doing shadow work. Your ancestors will be around you, as they are around me now, delivering this message. I can really, really feel them. Put the card under your pillow the right way round and see how you feel in the morning. Maybe you'll have dreamt of something that will give you some insight. Maybe things will have shifted in you. Ritualize this this lesson if you can, so free yourself somehow. Maybe doing a ritual, a spell, something where you're kind of creating space to deal with this. You know, I offer services like this, and I've done some videos on the channel about like spell work and rituals, so they may apply. But yeah, that's the message for you. I hope that makes sense. I'm sending you, as always, lots of love, light, positive energy. Let me just see if there's any messages from the ancestors specifically for anyone who might be listening. I'm hearing bird song, so that might be significant to someone. I'm seeing a very old, wise, feminine energy, which makes sense with the Mother Mary. Anyone else want to say anything? Hugh, I'm getting someone Hugh. I don't know, so let me know in the description, in the comments, or privately if any of that makes sense. But I'm going to close down the energies now for pile 1. Thank you very much. Can everyone step back? All of the ancestors and entities and guides for pile 1, if they just want to step back now, thank you very much, and go back into the light. Thank you. And let's just clear out the energy now for pile 1 before I go ahead and do pile 2. So yeah, just closing down all of that energy for pile 1. Okay, pile 2. Now, I just want to, before I get going, I just want to say something about this coin that you picked. So this coin was given to me by a friend of mine, and it's just a normal British, like, 2p coin. So it's copper, but it's oxidized. You know, I don't know how long it's taken. I've had this coin for about 2 years. Oh, it's not English. Sorry, is it English? Yes, it's English. I've had it for like 2 years though, and it's probably got more oxidized. So there's been a process here of gradual build-up of something that you could see as like a tarnish, but it's quite beautiful, isn't it? I think. Very beautiful. And so there's something here about this beauty. There can be a beauty in the process that is not necessarily seen as beautiful. So this is about, you know, points of weakness or cracks or breaks or processes that sort of interfere and interrupt, and actually having quite a beautiful outcome. So it could be that you feel like you've had some kind of interruption in your life recently, that something has not gone the way you wanted it to, or that something has happened that has been hard for you, but they want you to know, your guides, that something beautiful is coming from this. This is building up a layer of resistance and oh, you can't really see it. There we go. A layer of resistance and beauty within you, and it's going to make you stronger. It's going to make you more enriched. It's going to be a positive thing for you. It's very, very beautiful. I also want to say that this friend of mine ended up doing something that was sort of not ideal. Like, he was a bit disloyal to me, but then we sorted it out. And so again, it's this idea of endurance and forgiveness and longevity and weathering the rough and smooth. And so it could be that you've had an argument with someone or something, or there's just something here about longevity and time. Okay, sorry, let me not get distracted by that. Now, let's get into the cards. So all guides, ancestors, and anyone who wants to help deliver the message for pile 2, if you step forward now for me, and let's see what comes through for pile 2. I wonder if my friend who gave me that watches these and will watch that pile. But I mean, if he saw this video, he would definitely watch that pile. Anyway, let me just get myself out of the equation. Sending you the best, but not right now. Guides, come in, connect back into pile 2. Get me out of the way. Okay. Right. Ooh. Okay, pile 2. So you have the Hierophant and you have Justice. Ooh. So this is the Major Arcana Alchemical Tarot that I made. So the meanings are kind of slightly different sometimes, but not always. With these cards, you can see the alchemical process. You can see in the Justice card, it's all about things being balanced and in the right mix. This can warn of, like, you know, legal issues. It can warn of someone having their justice. It can warn of, well, not warn of, but it can talk of seeing things from a different point of view. Legality, marriage, contracts. I see though this could be to do with marriage, because you also have the Hierophant, and this is the kind of spiritual leader, masculine energy, divine masculine energy. You can see him here. He's got his alchemical book open. He's got the moons around him. He has a knowledge, and it's a kind of traditional knowledge, as opposed to like an esoteric knowledge. So he can represent sort of structures that are traditional, so legality, the church, institutions, education, higher learning, higher power, but rooted in this kind of traditional aspect. I think that you guys could be having some kind of legal stuff that's going on, or if it's not that, you're having some kind of awakening going on where you're waking up to like these new spiritual dimensions. And I think there's a wise masculine energy. It's not gender specific, but I'm seeing a male energy coming through for some people specifically. So it could be like a grandfather or someone far back in your ancestry who was masculine, and they were wise, and they were a teacher, and they could have been in some way involved in kind of legalities or making laws. It could be, if you have like Native American ancestry like I do, it could be like a chief, do you know what I mean, who is in charge of like the rules, the laws. It doesn't have to be that though, it could just be anyone who is kind of in power over people. They went to them for counsel, they were wise. It could even just be for some of you like your grandfather who used to give you advice. Obviously it's going to be different for everyone, but this is the kind of average energy for this pile. It's a masculine that gives advice, and their message for you, I'm just hearing fair. It's going to be fair, it's going to work out. Whatever it is that's disrupting you, that's causing you anxiety, know that there's a higher thing going on. Know that it's creating this beautiful layer to your life, that it's enriching you, that it's going to change you, that you're not going to be just this kind of coin anymore. You're going to be transformed. It's alchemical, it's transformation. There's something going on here that is a transformation, that's an awakening, and whatever aspect you're dealing with that's difficult, it's building up this beauty within you, and they want you to know you're protected. Oh, strong energy there, like chills up my spine. Someone needs to know they're protected, and that it's going to be fair, and it's going to work out, and not to lose hope and not to lose faith. I need to burn some of this stuff because this is quite heavy energy coming in for some people. Something's going on that's really unfair in their life. And I'm going to now close this down by adding my energies into this now, because I want this to work out for this person, that justice is done and that it is fair and that things resolve. And I'm going to ask this masculine energy, who I can see pretty clearly, they've got a beard. This is a specific message. If it resonates, let me know privately or below. What is it you want to say? You can connect with them yourself though. Right, they want to actually come through and do a channeled message with me, but it's not really appropriate on this channel. And it won't apply to everyone. So what I would say is, if this is ringing true for you, this masculine energy wants to connect with you specifically and help you. And if that freaks you out, it shouldn't freak you out, but if it does, fair enough. You don't have to like be able to listen to them. Just know that they're there for you, they're guiding you. Go into a meditative state, invite them in, ask them to give you insight. You may see certain things, you may hear certain things, or you may suddenly realize things, but the message for you is you're protected, it will work out, the situation will resolve, and justice is coming to you. Look to something that you feel sustained by and fulfilled by in terms of religion. So whatever it is for you, traditional religion, spirituality, ritual, magic, whatever it is that you can create this sacred space for yourself where you feel held, create that, and the answers will come to you. And you've got a guide around you who's, all of this group have, but one of you specifically who's really trying to help. So maybe you just needed to hear that. I hope that makes sense for who it needs to make sense for. And remember, these are general reads, so it can't resonate for everyone, and sometimes the strongest energy will just come through because it's an open portal. So I'm going to close that down. Group 2, thank you very much. Everyone step back now, out of my aura. Thank you. Go back to the light. It was very kind of you to come. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, alright, that's everything I have for group 2. I just need to... I'm actually going to do some bear root as well. Okay, group 3. Now, you were attracted to, let me find a place on my forehead, the third eye. Can I match up the third eye? There we go. You were attracted to this meteorite. I think it came from South America, so you could have some kind of lineage that goes back to South America. You could have... who knows, but you know, for whatever reason you were attracted to this meteorite, which is impossible to show you. Maybe it's about faith and believing what you can't see. It could also be that you're very interested in space. It could be that that you're starseed, that you come from, you know, one of those intergalactic planets. You will know which if you are. We all have stardust in us, remember? We are, everything we look for in the stars we can find within ourselves. This is beautiful meteorite. Now I should say, because it might be relevant, this meteorite for me is a weird story of like someone who wanted to marry me and then we were going to make the ring from a meteorite. That was my idea. And he never got me a meteorite, but then like it ended, I ended it. And then I found a meteorite almost exactly after that. And I'd been looking for one for ages, and someone was selling one and they were really cool and I loved their vibe, and so obviously I bought it. And I remember thinking like, what is this a sign of? Is this a sign that I was meant to marry him and that's why I got this meteorite? But I knew really what it was like, that was my thing that I wanted to do, and I could do it myself. Like, my father's a jeweler as well as being an alchemist and all sorts of things. He collaborated with me on my tarot deck. He wrote the guide because he's a Jungian psychoanalyst, but he's also a jeweler. So I'll get him to make this into a ring for me. I don't need someone to do that. So I don't know whether you guys need to hear a message about like if you're in a relationship and you're not quite sure of it, but you feel like there's some kind of security there, or that, I don't know, there's just, if you need to hear a message of like you can be independent and have everything you want for yourself, and like go to the places you want to go yourself, take yourself on dates, buy yourself your meteorite, whatever your like specific thing is. For me that's like my thing. It's like I could buy my own bloody meteorite. Not that he was a really nice guy, I just didn't think it was right for me. So I just feel like you guys might need to hear that. So I'm just going to put that out there. Okay, now let's connect in, please, with pile 3, their energies, their guides, their ancestors coming through now to me so I can deliver the message that they most need to hear. Let's go. Pile 3. Ooh. Cards were shuffling weirdly. Okay, I'm going to look at these, but I might not like reference all of them because it's a lot of cards and I just wanted a few. You got more cards than the other pile, but I can kind of see why, and I think this is some kind of love message. So I don't know why though, it's not really in the cards, but I just instinctively feel it. If not, we can make it apply to other things so that everyone gets something from this, because obviously it's just going to be the strongest energy that like comes through, like out of the average. And the more people interact with the channel, the more their energy's in there. But I want everyone who sees it to be able to get some message that's helpful. That's my intention. Okay, so I feel like you guys are going through a tower moment at the moment. This is the alchemical tower furnace. It's where everything is rotten down and burnt in the alchemical process of transformation. So this is about, you know, rebirth, rebuilding, dialogue with the shadow leading to enlightenment. The shadow is all the aspects of ourselves that we don't want to acknowledge within ourselves or within society or culture, but that we have within us nonetheless. And if we don't acknowledge them and integrate them, they run rampant and we behave in bizarre ways that we don't understand. Like, we hear stories on the news of nice people murdering people out of nowhere. That's possibly one reason why. That's an extreme example. Another example could be you get really drunk and end up telling someone that you really like all sorts of nasty things about them, and you're like, where did that come from? Well, it's from your shadow. And you might get hints of it in dreams, like, oh, you're dreaming of this thing and you don't really understand why. You're not properly integrating your psychic dirt and your I'm hearing trauma, past trauma. So some of you may have had some kind of past trauma. You may have had a tower moment where things fell apart and you didn't properly integrate it. Or you're going through this now where stuff is crumbling. And remember, with the tower, it's always stuff that's built on unfirm foundations that are falling down to be rebuilt. And from the ruins, you can have something much more positive coming through. And this is really echoed with the Death card, which is a card of the Alchemical Nigredo, which is the dung heap of regeneration, which is where everything is rotted down. The dirt that I was speaking of, this psychological dirt that can be very fertile ground for ideas to flow. So it can be a very powerful and beautiful time of change, but you have to kind of do that shadow work. You have to go within, you have to face your darkness. And I feel like you guys, there is something that's happened or that's happening that's calling you to do that. Your ancestors are really saying you need to do that now. You need to be brave, you need to do the work. You're strong enough to do the work. Do have some kind of guide when you do shadow work. Come to someone like me, or go to a therapist, you know, or a psychoanalyst. Whatever you need, whatever makes you feel comfortable and safe and able to delve into these things in a way that is good for you, but you need some kind of guidance and you need to actually allow yourself to do that. It could be, I feel like for some of you, there's stuff from childhood that's very traumatic that you don't want to think about and you're being called to think about it. For others of you, it's to do with a relationship or something that's ending, or it could even be a death. This would have been a death that's already happened, don't worry. Don't ever take stuff like that from a tarot reading that's on YouTube. You know, personal reading maybe, but it will resonate if you know that this has happened recently. And there's something here that you just need to integrate. But the thing is, you have this rebirth coming. You know, this is the Judgment card. This is the card of new life, new possibilities, the integration of the shadow and the ego being integrated, and then creative stuff happening, conclusions to the psychoanalytical journey, integration of the self, integration of the ego, stepping into the world as a kind of more whole person. It's towards the end of the kind of therapeutic process in Jungian psychology. It's a call to have a new life though. Sorry, I'm just trying to listen if there's something specific. It could be that some of you have lost someone recently and they're coming through strongly to tell you that they're in a better place and that they're happy and they're safe. So that is just for some of you, and only take it if it resonates. For the rest of you, it's about embracing a new life and them pointing you towards this new life and all these great new opportunities that are coming for you that you're almost too afraid to kind of go for and reach out to. You have the Emperor card, so I feel like this is a strong masculine energy, someone you knew. There's an eagle on this card. This could be symbolic. You could be a masculine energy that identifies with eagle energy, or if not, this is just someone who, you could have Native American roots, I do, like the eagle, you know, that would be a native kind of symbol. Or if not, it's just to do with this seeing things from a wider perspective. This person is a masculine energy, or you watching are a masculine energy, and they're seeing things from a wider, this is a kind of specific message for someone who's lost a masculine energy from their life, and they are seeing things from a bigger perspective. It could have been someone you lost like in the last few years. They're saying they're looking down on you. They're saying they see things from a bigger perspective. They're giving me a clairvoyant image of looking down on you. And they want you to some of you, they're saying they want you to go home. I don't know if there's like someone you need to go and visit, like someone's resting place, or whether you need to, there's someone you've fallen out with who you should be reconnecting with. That's like a really specific message for, I'm getting a lot of medium, I'm doing a lot of mediumship, of course, because I'm dealing with ancestors. Anyway, if not, this is just a masculine energy, and it's asking you to see a higher perspective in some kind of element in your life where you've had some kind of traumatic ending to something that you thought was serving you, that you felt was like a secure, solid thing, and it rocked your foundations, and you're like, oh my god, what do I do next? Everything's changing, you're resisting the change, you're resisting the new life, and they're saying, no, you need to embrace it, step into your masculine energy, step into the energy of being sure, of being proactive, of taking physical steps, of taking emotional steps, not just thinking and ruminating, but actually taking action. Don't be stubborn. The Emperor can be stubborn energy. Don't be stubborn. Don't be trapped in the past. Don't be bound to the past. Embrace the future fully. This is a new life. This is a call for a new life, a new beginning, and great happiness awaits you. Yeah, that was very, also, they all have been so intense. Can you please step back now into the light? Thank you so much for that help. And all my guides as well, thank you for being here and like holding space, holding court, protecting me through that. You guys are also welcome to leave now, go back to the light. Severing all energetic cords temporarily put in place with anyone who comes across this video, wrapping us all in protective love, light, and positive energy. Healing any kind of breaks in the auric fields, or any kind of points of weakness that have let these temporary cords sort of take root. Let's pull out the cords here, and let's fill up with pure, brilliant white light, calling on Archangel Michael with his sword of pure, brilliant light, and now purple light, to heal that place, heal everyone watching, filling them up with universal love energy. I'm going to put my intention that everyone got the message they need from watching this, or they will have insights later coming through to them throughout the day after watching this video. And I want to close down this temporary space we've opened up, this portal we've opened up, leave my space totally intact now, and just my energy. Return to sender, return to sender, return to sender. Okay, thank you everyone, and I will see you guys soon. We've got some more fun stuff coming up for the Halloween special, so thanks very much for joining us.
Hey, I'm Thou Alone, also known as Hayley Kutanani, my actual name. So I am a sound healing practitioner, a tarot reader, but predominantly I'd call myself an artist, specifically around poetry and sound. So I wanted to share with you guys my reading that I got from my mana cards, which I picked up when I was in Hawaii, when I got to finally visit a part of my lineage and my ancestry back in 2018. So I picked up these oracle cards called the mana cards, and it uses Hawaiian mythology as a way of divination and using the stories as a way to discern and navigate and be able to move forward. So as it's Halloween and the full moon in Taurus, it is an excellent time for us to be connecting with our higher selves, our ancestors, and that of other different consciousness. So for the collective, I pulled the first card, which is Pueo. Now, Pueo is the owl totem, which is a type of kind of spirit guide. And when Pueo comes up, it represents the Amakua, which is our higher self, our ancestors. And it's very important to have and establish this connection with our ancestors, our Amakua, because with that they are able to help us, to guide us, and to help us feel safe and secure and on path as we need to be. So also when Pueo arises in a card pull, it's also very important to realize just what your strengths and potentials are. So we are all given gifts to experience and play out in the third dimensional world. What a blessing. And the Hawaiians believe that the Amakua, the ancestors, the greater spirits, they will take this talent and gift away if you're not using it to your fullest potential. And by harnessing your creative energy, that is just the most beautiful way that spirit speaks. So that is the insight from the Pueo card. It also is kind of reminds us to be very mindful of the situations that are around us. Perhaps there may be a situation and we'll be in great danger, or there'll be something not quite right. So this is the time to connect to ourselves, to our ancestors, to help get any guidance that we might need. So the second card that I pulled was Poliahu. Now Poliahu is the ice goddess in Hawaiian mythology, and there's a story between the battle between her and Pele, the fire goddess. And Poliahu managed to win this fight, this feud, because of her immovable stillness. And it is in stillness and in grace that we can truly prosper. So the message of Poliahu is to find that cool, centered stillness in which we can get in touch with our Amakua, our higher self. And we can be victorious through any turbulence, and we can direct our strength into our stillness and transmute any weakness we might feel into this stillness and immovable calm. And rather than trying to kind of like change or manipulate the outcome, which could be quite common with the Sun opposition Moon transit we're going to be facing with the Sun in Scorpio and the Moon in Taurus, rather than kind of trying to play things in our favor, it's important to make like Poliahu and to just find your still, quiet center and allow things to run its course. Because usually when people are raging, and we've had so many like conflicting energies recently, that it's best to kind of just like leave people to their own devices. You're like, cool, you do you, I'm gonna stay put, I'm gonna be quiet, I'm gonna connect with myself to my truths. And you burn hard and bright and fast and bright, whereas with the stillness there is that everlasting longevity that we have. And the final card I picked was the Evie card. Now this represents the bones and respect. So in Hawaiian traditions, bones are so sacred and they are thought to contain all the mana energy. It's like the equivalent of chi. So with this card coming up in the context of these two things, then for the full moon in Taurus, I think about our foundational structures, I think about boundaries. How do we implement our boundaries? How do we respect the boundaries of others? Are there times that we try to maneuver that, or try to work way around, or disagree? It's all about respecting. So we need to respect ourselves and respect one another. How can we move forward and move through this and enforce our boundaries and just give and receive respect with grace? So these are the cards, so I will hold them up here as they're super beautiful. And that is my message from spirit, from the ancestors, from the lineage that I'm tapping into from my own guides. So cool. Now, my next topic is the transits of this full moon in Taurus. Halloween, Samhain, Hallows Eve, Días de los Muertos. What a beautiful time. So I've just made some like very basic cliff notes, which I'll just relay to you and kind of just give some insight on. So we have the sun in opposition with the moon, like I mentioned earlier. So this revolves around, the moon represents our emotions, whereas the sun is like ego. So we're gonna have like an emotional vibe of more Taurian values, and this will be in conflict with the ego of Scorpio. And both are quite fixed signs, very stubborn, quite controlling, and they, yeah, just hella stubborn. We also have the sun in opposition with Uranus. Now Uranus is like the unpredictable, like, whoa, planet. So it's very individual, eccentric. So we can see this energy playing out with the sun, the ego, in opposition with kind of Uranian themes, as kind of an eccentric, kind of selfish behavior, really, and kind of in the extremes of individuality in order to showcase their like uniqueness and some form of rebellion. You may have seen this with like kind of like protesting and all sorts of things, like not all of the protesting, but it's just, that's a very fine example of what's been happening just over the course of this year, as Uranus has been in Taurus. So we also have the moon in conjunction with Uranus, and this can give an energy of like emotional freedom, but also a lot of fragmented emotions. And with that, there may be some like outbursts, frustrations, separations, which we can sit with, think with, connect with our higher self, to our guides, to the universe, whichever term you'd like to call it and you're familiar with. While we also have the Mercury retrograde that has gone back into Libra from Scorpio, and this is square Jupiter and Saturn. So this and Pluto, because we are in the Saturn Jupiter Pluto conjunction, all in the sign of Capricorn. So Mercury is squaring all three of these planets. So this can manifest as extreme thinking, kind of doubting your beliefs and finding it difficult to integrate kind of like your theory with your practice. But with Mercury square Saturn, there's going to be more of a practical mental process to how we approach things. So it can be very good for calculating clear mind and calmness, because Saturn is the ruler of time, restrictions, the great father energy. So it's very calculated, and especially within Capricorn, which Saturn is the ruler of. With the Pluto aspect, we might be dominated by kind of biased opinions and instinct. So it's really important not to overthink and trying not to manipulate in the favor. This is when we can go back to the Polyahu energies, and we can just think about her story and being in that immovable stillness and within your own truth. So we also have Jupiter square Mars. So this can be very reckless and extreme pursuits of things, and because Mars is in retrograde in Aries, this is just like hectic, straight up energy, as is. And we also have Mars square Pluto. So this is very stubborn, determined energy with a tendency to kind of just be super rude and hurt other people's feelings. So that's definitely something to watch out for, and to be quite uncritical in their beliefs and in their kind of truth and their ability. So an energy of discernment is just super recommended, and having that quiet downtime to channel and hone your energies, connect with your higher self, connect with the good juju just waiting to be tapped into. We also have Jupiter sextile Neptune. So this is very compassionate energy, a lot of an artistic inclination, and kind of more of a religious tone and undertone, in fact. So again, back to the message of Pueo, it's so good to just harness and channel this creative energy as and how you channel and choose, just as a way to kind of gauge all of these transits that we're going through. So we have Jupiter in conjunction with Pluto, so this can be a bit of a contradictory energy, fighting for truth but also trying to gain power at the same time. So it again goes to kind of like manipulation, all these themes and kind of struggle and conflict that we've been experiencing, as well as Saturn conjunction in Pluto, just all about self-control, ambition, endurance and intense self-reflection. So we can draw on these themes to help us navigate the next few weeks and just how we'd like to progress and move forward. So in following this information, I have created a track using sound healing techniques and my knowledge of sound healing as a sort of soundscape to meditate to, just put it on loop. It's about five and a half minutes long. And it is in the key of D minor. So D minor represents times of change, transition, working out what needs to be done, karmic patterns, and determining our future direction. So I've used vocal toning, electric guitar, and I have also used a tuning fork in a perfect fifth harmonic interval. So the D minor triad is used throughout, and it's just all about kind of balancing and getting attuned to all of these energies. I hope you enjoy the rest of this amazing video. Sending love and blessings. Thank you.
So welcome everyone to this special Samhain spell to transform a situation or element within your life. This is going to be a collaborative spell, so you'll hear more as I go through, but do watch all the way to the end. There's a chance for you to collaborate with me on this spell. There's going to be some powerful transformations occurring. We're thinking about alchemy, we're thinking about the Samhain holiday, Lord Samhain, we're thinking about transmuting energies, we're thinking about changing seasons. So Samhain is an ancient pagan Celtic holiday worshipped by the Druid religion and also celebrated by Wiccans. Samhain was the lord of darkness and the month of November. So in Celtic it literally translates to summer's end. So Lord Samhain kind of reigned over the long winter months. As for Druids there were only 2 months, summer and winter, light and dark. And it's about using these kind of dualities and these opposing forces and harnessing the kind of transformation that they hold. Obviously Halloween or Samhain is this time where there's thought to be a very thin veil between the worlds of the living and the dead, and it's meant to be at its sort of thinnest on this night. And souls are meant to rise up and find their way to the Netherlands. So we're thinking about ancestry. So obviously thinking about the seasons and about this time of year, it's easier to kind of connect in with spirits and guides and our ancestors at this time. And it's about kind of reconnecting ourselves with where we've come from as well. So I've got certain things today with me. So I'm wearing, you probably can't see, but I'm wearing an original Victorian jacket that belonged to my mother's great-grandmother from Bermuda. I'm wearing some rings from my great-grandmother from Italy. As usual, whenever I do any spell work, I have some human bones. This is a bone of an ancestor, the hand. I have this with me whenever I do spell work. It's been passed down through the generations. It's very powerful, and I always include it. I also always include the 4 elements. So I've got some flowers from my garden here, a seashell, some sea salt, and some earth. So there we have the seashell and the sea salt for the water element, and the flowers and the earth for the earth element. We have smoke here. And there will be fire, and there is fire as well with the candles. And I have a feather. Feathers, I'm part Native American, and feathers are very important in Native American belief. Prayers are said to go up the feather shaft and wishes come back down. And this feather came to me in a time when I was really needing kind of protection. So I'm kind of creating this space today for this spell work to be done so that you don't have to do it, you can just watch and participate at a certain moment. We want to think about this idea of changing seasons, embracing the idea of closure and rebirth that this period really allows, and progressing forwards to the new year with a clean slate. So obviously winter is a time when things die back and then this regrowth is allowed to happen. And I think in 2020 there's been much self-reflection, much like things emotionally dying off and needing to be reborn, both personally and collectively. I think there have been big shifts, and so it's just maybe a nice moment to think about what else we want to transform going forward and allow ourselves a kind of safe space in which to do this. I'm very interested in Jung. My father's a Jungian psychoanalyst as well as being an alchemist and mystic. And Jung is famous for saying, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. So part of sort of spell work or any kind of ritual work is just creating a space where you can acknowledge things and allow them to shift. So in the Jungian sense, the shadow is all the elements of ourselves that we don't want to kind of acknowledge or own, all the parts of ourselves that we push out and don't identify with, that can cause havoc in our lives because we're not integrating them properly. So thinking about this idea of the darkness and how we can use this as illumination and transformation. Alchemy is really central to Jung's hypothesis of the collective unconscious, inspired by the dual nature of alchemy as a kind of chemical process and as a parallel mystical component. For Jung, alchemy related to the transient nature of the psyche, using it to provide insight into individuation. And I've actually created an alchemical vessel that is part of this spell. Obviously, you guys won't have one of these at home, but there's going to be an element where you can interact with me and your energy will go into this vessel. You'll see later on, so carry on watching. But yeah, Jung really kind of early on connected analysis to alchemy and paralleled the analytical relationship to this idea of a sealed vessel. Or alchemical container in which transformation occurs, because in alchemy there were these kind of vessels where different processes took place, and so this is kind of what's going on here with this vessel that I've made for the spell work. Maybe I should talk a little bit about alchemy. I can definitely do another video on the channel if this is something people are interested in, because it's something I know a lot about. But basically there are lots of symbols within the alchemical process that kind of donate the different elements that went on, and you can see some of these within this vessel. So there's also the two triangles, interlocked triangles that you see here, and in alchemy this kind of represents the reconciliation of the opposites of fire and water. And it's also used as a sign for the quintessence, or the fifth spiritual element. So this spell is going to kind of connect with our ancestors, bring them into the energy, and then use that energy in order to transform a situation or an element. So just start thinking to yourselves about what situation you may want to transform for a second. I'm just burning here some incense. So I've been burning mugwort, which is very good for divination and dreaming. And then there's also frankincense and myrrh, which is purifying. And this is some dried Solomon seal root, which is very rare. And this is very good for protection, wisdom, and uncrossing. We also have some amethyst here, which is obviously very good for spiritual awareness, and some moonstone, which is very good for divination and dreaming. and we have 2 blue candles and 1 purple candle. These kind of medium blue candles are for power and expansion, and the purple is for spirit, contact and psychic ability. And then we have a white candle, which is to do with purity and contacting spirit helpers. So what we're going to do is we're going to invoke ancestors and spirit guides to come and surround us. And how this works is there's no such thing as time. So at the time that you're watching this video, your energy will already be in the video, which is kind of strange to think about, but it's very cool. So as you're watching this, I'm already kind of connected to your energy. The more you interact with this, the more your energy will be present. And there are kind of 2 ways that you can interact. If you're watching on the channel, you can comment in the comment section below, and that energy will end up going into this vessel. If you're based in London, there's an opportunity to come and actually do a ritual in real life. I'm basically going to have this open from the 31st of October until the kind of end of December. So if you want to participate in this during those times, then your energy will go into this spell working. So basically what we're going to do is I'm going to say a chant to open up some pathways, to invite in my ancestors, my guides, and also anyone who's listening at any time to this, their spirit team, to come in and help. I'm then going to, I have a piece of paper here, and I've written out a spell with an alchemical symbol. This is the symbol of the squared circle, which is the interplay of the 4 elements of matter, which symbolize the philosopher's stone in alchemy. And I've written a special incantation around this, and on the back I've written an intention. So what you guys who are watching, what I want you to do is to comment in the comment section below about what it is that you want to transform, either within yourself or within a situation. So if you're in a kind of negative situation and you'd like a better outcome, or perhaps you want to transform in terms of embracing some kind of creativity or spirituality, I'm going to put a proviso on this that it has to be like with good intentions for your highest good, and that it's not going to infringe on anyone else's free will, because I just don't indulge in that kind of spell work, because I don't like to involve myself in the entities that need to be dealt with in order for those things to be done. So you could try to do that, but it won't work. I'm going to put a kind of proviso on this that that's not going to happen. So let's just let me just set the intention that anyone with good intentions can have access to this space of healing and transformation. And we want the dragon fire to come and encircle me and keep out any kind of negative or unwanted energy from this process. So what I want you to do is think about the situation that you want to transform. And if you're doing this in person in London, I'd like you to take a piece of paper that's provided and write down what it is that you want to transform. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to write in the comment section, and you have to do it as a public comment, please, because it's just a lot easier for me. And what's going to happen is you're going to write that down, and then these wishes are going to be transmuted via the element of fire. So I am going to burn my spell in this pot that I've made, this vessel. Anyone who comments below, I'm going to write out your wishes and do the same thing within this vessel. And anyone who is in London and wants to do this in person, they are invited to fold their paper and put it in the vessel. And basically, I'm going to burn this now. The rest of them, it's just going to be folded and put in, or I'm going to write them out and put them in. Anything that comes through until the end of December will be put in here. And then at that point, in the beginning of the year in January, I will actually ceremonially do a burning of this vessel in my garden on a full moon night, and we're going to transmute all of these things, all of these intentions, and then this will be properly fired and I'll use it in future spell work. But this is a kind of container for these desires, so I'm kind of inviting you guys to participate in this, to add your energy into this, either digitally or physically. If you do it digitally, I will write everything out. So let's just maybe have a moment now to listen to some of these healing sounds that have been provided by Thou alone, and everyone can kind of get everything they need together, write out what they want to transmute. Can all spirit guides, entities, ancestors step forward now, surrounding me in protective light, and add their energy into this, working for the collective, transforming what needs to be transformed. Open the doors to spirit wide. Take my hand and guide me inside. Let me know the great wisdom, the strength and the love that comes from sweet blending with spirit above. All ancestors stepping forward now, of everyone watching, enabling us to transmute anything that needs healing in their life via this working. Open the doors to spirit wide. Take my hand and guide me inside. Let me know the great wisdom, the strength and the love that comes from sweet blending with spirit above. And here I'm going to read the spell that I've done here, that I'm going to burn. So, ancestors of blood, ancestors of spirit, you are honoured here. All are mourned, remembered, all are honoured. I call my beloved dead to this gateway. Only those that wish me well may enter. And in this transformation, aid us. And what I've written out for my what I want to transform is something for the collective of people who are watching this. So, for all those with good intentions who partake in this ritual, to be aided by the collective energies in transmuting their realities and achieving their goals, open all roads to their success, enable safe passage, and grant their wishes. So be it, and so it is. And you can see here I've signed the bottom. Very important in spell work when you do a partition like this. If you're doing it for another, you need to sign it to kind of sign it off. So hopefully by now everyone has written down something that they're wanting to transform or transmute in their life. I'll just give a little more time in case not. And if you have already done it, just take this time to really focus your intention on what it is you want to shift, and envision the kind of reality when this thing has shifted and the better outcome that you desire. So really picture yourself living in this desired outcome, whatever this may be. So just take a moment to really envision that transformation and really tap into the powers and the energies here. You know, all of the spell workings are kind of set up so that you don't have to do this. You just need to, all you need to add, you guys, is your intention and your focus. And that's the only ingredient you need in the spell, and to write it out. Because when we put something in words and write them down, it really is setting an intention. So it's important to be mindful of what we say and write, especially. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and you fold, because you want to bring these things to yourself. You're folding in the direction towards yourself. If you were doing a spell to, I don't know, bind someone from doing harm in your life, or push something you don't want away from you, you would fold away from you. But here we're going to fold 3 times towards us. And so you guys, if you're doing this in person, would now just leave your offering in here like that. If you're watching on the channel, just write it out below, and I will do this for you. I'll write it out for you and I will add it in here. And at the end of December, I will burn all of these in my garden, and then that's the kind of final alchemical process of, you know, clay is earth and it's going to go through this fire process. I will also include water and air in the garden, so that all the 4 elements are really at play again then. And also the energies of everyone else who's doing this, we're like kind of multiplying the energies and really pooling this kind of collective energy, which is really exciting. But so now I'm going to connect in and set the intention that this spell is successful for everyone who watches, with an open heart, mind and good intentions, and enables people a space to transform what needs to shift in their life towards greater alignment and happiness for them. So everyone watching, if you just watch this paper burn and visualize that this is your intention, and really put your energy into this, see whatever you want coming to fruition and whatever you want to be transformed being transmuted now. You know, there's some quite powerful energy here, a lot of ancestors adding their energy into this. Let me know great wisdom, the strength and the love that comes from sweet blending with spirit above. Let me know the great wisdom, the strength and the love that comes from sweet blending with spirit above. Open the doors to spirit wide. Take my hand and guide me inside. Let me know the great wisdom, the strength and the love that comes from sweet blending with spirit above. You can see all of this being transmuted now. element of air, fire, earth and water all happening in this vessel. All 4 elements contained within this vessel, which is really lovely. So be it, and so it is. And as that just burns out, it will take a while. Let's just listen to some of the healing music in the background, sort of designed to aid in this spell working.